Okay, so welcome back to the channel, and in today's video I am telling you everything you need to know about Paria Farzaneh. But before I continue, if you want to follow me on Instagram, you can follow me at Fashion Roadman. And if you're interested in talking about fashion with other like-minded people, I have a Discord where people discuss fashion, and the links to that will be in the description below. Now, Paria Farzaneh is an Iranian fashion designer who grew up in the northern part of England. Now she's based in London. Her Iranian heritage and her Western upbringing has kind of created this juxtaposition in terms of her design, and that's why when you look at her designs, there's an element of Western silhouette and cut, and there's also a lot of Iranian influences and references when it comes to the prints. Now, the first time I actually found out about Paria Farzaneh was just over a year ago, or about a year ago, when they had the Converse Hotel. And the Converse Hotel was this really big event, and they had collaborations with a couple of people like Paria Farzaneh, Stussy, Young Lean, and a lot of other people. I made a video on that, so if you want to check it out, then you definitely can. But yeah, since then, I've been following her career very closely, and I've really loved what I've seen from Paria Farzaneh. So in today's video, I'm basically going to talk about her last 3 collections. So obviously the first collection we're going to talk about is the Spring-Summer 2019 collection. So the Spring-Summer 2019 show was a presentation, and it was named 7. And this basically just involved models standing on a raised platform. It kind of looked like a set, specifically designed for the presentation, which is really cool. Now, the reason this collection was titled 7 was Paria Farzaneh took inspiration from Iranian New Year. And there's something called the Haft Sin, and with the Haft Sin, which is the Iranian or Persian New Year, they actually have 7 symbols that begin with the letter S, that are kind of very important to the Iranian New Year. And yeah, the Haft Sin is basically the centerpiece of the celebrations of the Iranian New Year. So I actually have some notes. So the 7 things beginning with S, there's something called a Sabzeh, which is made out of wheat, barley, or lentil sprouts. Then there's something called Samanu, which is a sweet pudding made from wheat germ. Then there's Senjed, which is Persian olive. There's Serkeh, which is vinegar. There's Seeb, which is apple. There's Seer, which is garlic. And then there's Somaq, which is obviously made out of Somaq. So this was kind of the inspiration from the collection, kind of going back to Iranian New Year. And that's why in this collection we see a lot of Iranian heritage in terms of the prints. And every single piece in this collection featured Paria Farzaneh's signature print, Iranian print, and I love the prints, man. We also saw kind of like a jersey, kind of like a polo top, and it had the logo of Iran with some of the flag colors. That was really nice. Obviously the Iranian print pieces came in shorts, trousers, shirts, and many other things. There are also these t-shirts with Iranian prints, kind of like a rabbit print. And yeah, I really liked that as well. I also liked how she used the prints on the accessories, so things like the bags and the bucket hats that were in this collection. And of course, as we all know, and as I mentioned earlier, she had a collaboration with Converse in this collection. So it's just the normal Chuck Taylor. Normally what she does is she'll have a 1-star or a Chuck Taylor every season and just put like her Iranian print on it. So that's basically what it was in this collection. And yeah, I love her Converses. Till today, I haven't been able to get my hands on any of her Converses, but hopefully it'll happen one day. But yeah, very, very solid collection from Paria Farzaneh. So next we're talking about the Autumn Winter 2019 show, and this was a very amazing show. And from this point onwards, Paria Farzaneh, obviously this show was on the runway, and you'll start to realize her runway shows are like spectacles when it comes to like London menswear. And her shows are always the shows that people look forward to. So in this Autumn Winter 2019 show, it was a bit of a performance. So in this show, what happened was there was a model sleeping in a bed, and then the loud sound of a normal iPhone alarm blared. So the model woke up, got out of the bed, came out the door onto a conveyor belt. And then when the model was on the conveyor belt, the model started like taking pictures of himself, and the model started filming himself and doing stuff like that. And then eventually he ended up in a transparent kind of like box cage thing. And then the other models followed suit and went on this conveyor belt, did similar things. And then at the end, we saw the only women's wear look in the collection. And Paria Farzaneh actually said this woman was supposed to represent her, which I'll get into later. Now, it's actually important to note that in the show notes of this show, Paria Farzaneh actually told people that they shouldn't bring their phones out and they should put their phones in a plastic bag. That's why plastic bags were provided. And what was so funny was literally no one put their phones in the plastic bags because everyone was filming it. So one of the inspirations and what she wanted to talk about was how the model kind of woke up from bed. The first thing he did was go on his phone. And that's what people do in today's world, where people don't really focus on themselves and people are always on social media. So they don't get any people skills, they don't get any life skills. Everyone's just filming themselves. And then eventually kind of this is what the conveyor belt was kind of signifying, that people get stuck in this cycle. And obviously the cage and the box signified them being stuck in the cycle, whereas the conveyor belt was the movement within the cycle. And yeah, I thought this was a really intelligent way of kind of almost like making fun of people, like trolling people, because this whole collection, she was talking about how all of us are fixated with social media and like we should just like talk to people more instead of like being overly fixated about phones and social media and stuff like that, and how technology is affecting our people skills. And people literally took their phones out to film it as she was making basically a statement about why people should not rely on technology so much. So I thought that was quite hilarious. And then going into the last look, which was the only women's wear look, it was like this woman in this really nice dress. She went on the conveyor belt, and then you see her trying to enter the cage, the box where everyone else is, and they don't let her enter and she can't enter, and then she walks back. And what Paria Farzaneh said that was to signify was kind of her as a woman, because she's a menswear designer, and just kind of her trying to navigate how difficult it is for her to navigate in the menswear industry, not the fashion industry, because obviously the fashion industry at large is like very dominated by women, but in terms of menswear, it's really hard as a woman for her to navigate herself in menswear, and that was kind of the inspiration for that. And once again, this is what we come to see, this is what we want to see, because for so long fashion, I won't say has been boring, because in London we always have amazing shows, but just in the wider scheme of things, fashion has been a little bit disinteresting, and it's good to, you know, have a lot of people who care about the art of fashion, and not just in the clothes but also the performance in the shows, and making shows a spectacle and making shows something that people won't forget, something memorable. When asked about this collection, Paria said, "I just wish people would put their phones down and start looking at each other in the eye and start talking." So as you can see, that was literally the statement of this show, and it's so ironic and so funny that that's such a deep-rooted statement in terms of phones and social media and technology was being mentioned in this collection, and people were doing exactly what she told people not to do, or exactly what the collection was telling people not to do. That's quite funny. But looking at the garments, they were amazing. The cuts were a lot more refined. In terms of like silhouette and cuts and materials, a lot of the pieces in this collection looked very workwear-y. Looked like a lot of workwear, but I really liked the silhouette of a lot of the trousers, or like these baggy trousers. I also liked how she used the Iranian print, because before this collection, most of the pieces, there was just an Iranian print everywhere, and it's good. Like, I like the Iranian print stuff because people who know who Paria Farzaneh is, if they see you wearing that sort of stuff, can identify what you're wearing very quickly and very easily. And I kind of like the idea of being part of the Paria Farzaneh cult, or people who know about Paria Farzaneh. However, once again, this is something I said about Marine Seer. for Paria Farzaneh, her print is kind of her logo. And if you rely too much on a print or a logo, then people are just going to box you into that logo or that print. So I like how in this collection, not everything had the print and some were just standalone silhouette cut. I really like that. There are these blazers that were kind of like wrap blazers. So they're kind of like asymmetric in a way, and you could wrap it all the way to like around here. I really like those blazers. If I had a lot of money, I definitely would have gotten those. But yeah, the collection was just amazing. And what I really love about menswear designers these days, so people like Martin Rose, people like Paria Farzaneh, is when we talk about menswear, I'm going on a tangent now, but I think this is a really important point. When we talk about menswear, every time I go into a store, let's say I go into a Prada store, flagship store, the women's wear is always like the runway stuff and the experimental pieces, and then the menswear is literally just shirts, suits, and loafers, and that's it. Every single brand I go to, and it's so annoying. So I feel like men who are like really into fashion, a lot of them have started buying women's wear because there just is not enough variety when it comes to menswear compared to women's wear, where they have wide trousers, high rise, low rise, silk materials, satin material, and it's just way better and more experimental. And this is why I love people like Paria Farzaneh and people like Martin Rose, who are kind of, you know, changing the sphere when it comes to menswear, how menswear looks. So yeah, that's one of the reasons why I'm a big fan of Paria Farzaneh. And then also talking about this collection, of course, we saw another Converse collab. So yeah, those are really cool. In this collection, there was also these pieces that she used the Iranian print, but this was kind of in more florally colors. And there was kind of like plastic on top of the print, and I really like those pieces. I thought they were really cool. So I think there was a messenger bag that had that featured that, and also a jacket. But yeah, another solid collection from Paria Farzaneh. And what was even more solid was the performance. And yeah, trust me, I don't think I'll ever forget that runway because of how much of a spectacle it was. Now, of course, we're now at Paria Farzaneh's most recent collection, which is her Spring/Summer 2020 collection. And once again, it was another spectacle. So in this collection, on the runway, on the set, there were kind of TVs kind of lined up all across the set. And then what then happened was, as the model started to walk onto the runway, an image was on the screens of these televisions, and people thought because there were projectors, it was just going to be like a live feed, like a live projection of what was going on in the show. But what actually happened was, on the TVs, it showed people in the front row, like filming the collection and stuff. And obviously that made the show a bit creepy and uncomfortable because like people are seeing themselves on the screen constantly. And once again, I think Paria Farzaneh is just obsessed with like telling people and teaching people the effect that you know, technology can have. And in this specific show, it was more about privacy and the effect that technology can have on our privacy, and how with the likes of cameras, phone cameras, just cameras in general, things are a bit too accessible now, and privacy is a very hard thing to come by. And what I can relate this to very easily is Black Mirror. It literally reminded me of an episode of Black Mirror, because that's what Black Mirror does. Black Mirror is all about taking something that we know and something that is possible for us to use, and then showing us the negative effects of it, and how at the worst case scenario what it could turn into. And I think Paria Farzaneh is kind of doing the same thing with these collections and the messages that she portrays in these collections. Another thing that made the collection even more creepy was the fact that the models had kind of this like weird grungy Halloween-y makeup that looked literally like The Purge. I don't know if you watch like so many TV shows and movies before like thinking of the ideas for this collection, because literally the inspiration is like something out of Black Mirror, and then the makeup looked like something out of The Purge. But yeah, that just added to the mystique and the creepiness of the show. But talking about the garments themselves, They were amazing. There was one jacket that was made of postal boxes, and that was a big talking point, and I thought it was really nice. There were also, of course, a couple of jackets and pieces with the Iranian print, but like I said, she's starting to rely less on just putting the print on everything because that sells, and I really respect her for doing that. I really like the trousers in this collection, and once again, going back to the thing I said about menswear, there just isn't enough variety in menswear, and to see her creating those kind of wider silhouettes, the more flowy stuff, I really like that. I'm here for that. Once again, a lot of the pieces here kind of looked kind of workwear inspired. One of my favorite looks was the look with the tie that had the Iranian print. I thought that was quite a good way to use the print. I really like that. Of course, Converse collab in this collection as well. I really need those Converses. Like, if Paria Farzaneh watches this video, please. I'm not even like, if you want to give it to me for free, fair enough, but I'm not even like asking for it for free. I just want to buy it. And yeah, there were really nice accessories. There were these crossbody bags, and then of course some tote bags as well. So yeah, last thing I want to add about this collection was actually at the end, the model started handing out yellow roses, and this kind of symbolized freedom. And Paria Farzaneh actually said herself that in the 18th century in the Middle East, yellow rose was a symbol of kind of like peace and freedom and stuff like that. So yeah, really solid collection. I'm definitely looking forward to what Paria Farzaneh does next. Amazing designer. Yeah, I'm so happy I found out about her at the Converse Hotel because she is amazing. And I hope she goes from strength to strength. I hope she keeps us entertained with her spectacles from her runway shows. And yeah, now I hope you guys know a little bit about Paria Farzaneh. Amazing designer. We have some amazing designers out of London. So yeah, comment down below what you like about Paria Farzaneh's work, if you knew about her before, or just what you like about her as a person in general. Like this video, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and yeah, stay tuned for more videos.